If you are looking into buying cheap and safe FIFA coins, look no further than footcoinshop.net. They have the fastest service, an incredible loyalty reward system, and the best prices around. Use my creator code Inception when you sign up for your account and get a 5% discount with your order. Look at the times we're in, huh? EA's like, these guys are going to leak all of our stuff. You know what's going to happen? We're just going to do it ourselves. You gotta love it. Hey, listen, man. I like it, you know, a nice little busy holidays for your boy, because these last promos, I don't know, but they've been kind of boring when it comes to like doing the content and stuff. So it'll bring me back a little bit, you know, doing all the SBCs and whatnot. But yeah, we're gonna get started on December 22, which I guess this starts on the Friday. Yeah, so icon and regular player, a couple of icons to get. We don't know what versions that these guys are going to be releasing with some of these cards, because some of them look really nice, some of them could be mid if EA doesn't improve them properly, but we are going to be taking a look at a few variables. Okay, so the first one is going to be the Martinelli card, which obviously could be pretty decent. Honestly, he's not formatted horribly, because this guy, he actually got a most recent evolutions that some people unlocked, because obviously they didn't know if he was going to get any sort of card in the future. Now he's going to get a new promo card as an SBC. So the people that were building some sort of Arsenal team are going to be like, oh my goodness, could just get the SBC now. But Gabriel Martinelli, he had a card last year. I think it was like his team of the season, which I think it was team of the season or something before that, where it was actually like a really, really nice card. He has the base mechanics down, right, as a side player too. It's like a very similar situation to Rafinha, right? So imagine having like Rafinha on one side, Gabriel Martinelli on the other, both Brazilian, and you just basically switch them in game. Because with Martinelli, I could see them obviously providing him with like a 4-star weak foot. I think that would be like a really huge thing to work with for sure. But if you look at how the card is formatted just in general, there's a lot of potential improvements that you can have on the finisher chemistry style, on the hunter chemistry style, you know, hawk chemistry style, depending on how they actually end up improving the card, because he is formatted nicely. You know, he's got finesse shot, technical, flair, quick step, trivela, a lot of really good base mechanic stuff when it comes to the play style. So this could be a really cool card, especially for the first day, providing you with the Arsenal links, providing you with the Brazilian players. A lot of cool stuff to work with. So I can see a few people completing this if the SBC price is in a decent area. So not too bad there for sure. We also have a Hoedt. Now I'm curious to see which version of Hoedt they actually released, because let's go to the older FIFAs and check out that Hoedt in particular, right? So it was this one, because they're using the same picture for that one, right, where it's this version of the card. Again, we don't know what version they're going to be releasing. Maybe they actually release like a really, really sick one, because if it's this one, it could be okay, but like there's a few things that are kind of a little bit off with him, right? 6'3", medium. Like I feel like in this year's game, honestly, these cards would actually perform a little bit better, especially in his case, probably like on an anchor, to have a lengthy on the card to push the pace out of him a little bit more. But if it is this Hoedt card, it should be interesting to try out. I'll probably try him out in some sort of like 4-3-3 formation or 4-1-2-2, something like that, to kind of see how he generally performs in game. But he does have some pretty good position changes, right? Center back, center forward, center mid, depending on how you line up your team, because you can start your team basically in a 5-back, play him at center back, and then rotate him into the midfield position if your team is formatted a certain way, right? So could definitely be a very interesting icon card. Hopefully he has a loan, because if I have to do all these SBCs, I will lose it. But yeah, this card, anchor chemistry style, boosting the pace, defending, and physicality, is definitely going to be very ideal for a card like this, 100%. Traits wise, he's got power header, he's got playmaker, leadership, he's got a few interesting ones here and there. So yeah, if it's this Hoedt card, you know, icon card that gives you the Dutch links and all that good stuff, he could be really cool if they format him nicely, if it ends up being somewhat similar to this card, right? The next one we have is Luis Hernandez. I think the main thing with Luis Hernandez is, I think it's weak foot, right? Weak foot and a little bit of the base dribbling, I would say. Yeah. So this could be a really good icon card if I could provide him with a hawk chemistry style, because he's formatted for that. He is, right? Because if I were to give him the physical boost, the shooting is way more balanced, right? Because you're giving him a shot power boost and then you're giving him that pace boost. But a key thing here with this card is that for the icon version during the winter wildcard, they have to provide him with better base card stats in dribbling, because if they do, and he's a 4-star player, high medium work rate of 5'9", even though he has the average body type, play styles in game, he's got first touch, chip shot, power header, rapid, trivela. Like, he has a pretty good amount of play styles to work with. But if I can provide him with a Hawk in the future, and it's an improved version of this card as an SBC, then it'll be a WSBC, right? Especially for people that want to get to the Mexican links and they want like a decent striker, because he would actually be formatted very nicely if they provide him with the right improvements, right? It's gonna be very important for a card like that. Kai Havertz, to be fair, Havertz has actually gone to a point with his evolutions that has improved to a point where it's actually pretty decent, right? So obviously if you put him into oh, well, this is during that time period, right? If you put him into FC Founder Part 2 and then into Power Shooter, this card, obviously the agility and balance you're probably going to notice, but it's a physical oriented attacker, so that's fine, because with a card like this, you would provide him with like a Hunter chemistry style to boost his pace, to boost his shooting as much as possible. Do I see the new SBC being a better version of this card? Hard to say, because with the rare gold version of the card, it is initially a 4-star player. This card got all of those improvements because FC Founder Part 2 does the skill move improvement, and then the Power Shooter does the weak foot improvement, right? So because he's a 5-star on this Evo card, you're probably still going to be in a better position with this card compared to the new SBC, depending on how they improve it, because this is already a pretty big upgrade from an 82 into an 87. But who knows, maybe they actually improve the agility and balance part of the card, which would actually add to him a lot, right? So we'll see what they end up doing with that. Playstyles wise, he's got finesse shot, chip shot, technical first touch, trivela, power shot as well. So he's got really good playstyles to work with too. Maybe a work rate change, because this card, I guess, doesn't have a work rate change, because I don't think they do work rate changes on these two. I think it's just those two specific things in skill moves and weak foot, right? But a work rate change would definitely be a welcome inclusion, just to add a different variable to the card compared to the evolutions. But agility and balance is definitely going to be the main things, because as a physical oriented player, if you can improve the agility and balance, the usability of the card significantly increases, right? So could definitely be really cool as an SBC for sure. Del Piero, I could see Del Piero being a really nice SBC, depending on how they end up improving the card, because with Del Piero, he has like really good like base mechanic stuff, right? If you take a look at the card in game playstyles wise, I mean, the card already has finesse shot plus, which is a huge playstyle. You guys know this. He's got dead ball, technical, and flare. The dribbling on the card, I'm not sure what that's like in this year's game, but in previous years, him and Zola were the few types of cards that have dribbling stats set up a certain way where you don't really care about it in game, right? Normally, if you see 82 agility, 77 balance, and you see the same exact things with the 5'9" height and all that kind of stuff, you'd be like, oh, this is trash, right? But maybe it's his unique body type that adds to the dribbling being a little bit better. Maybe it works a certain way with his other dribbling stats. Hard to say, right? But Del Piero could definitely be a really nice SBC to get as well. Like the icon SBCs that they're releasing so far from the first three could be very nice, but they have to improve them a certain way for them to be like really nice. Because listen, the game is really meta oriented. You kind of need to improve these cards a certain way, but he does already have the 5-star weak foot. Maybe if they give him the 5-star skills, makes him a 5-star player, it would be pretty nuts. It would be pretty nuts. With this card, to make him really nice is a Hawk with base card stats being improved, because obviously that massive shot power increase is really nice with the pace boost as well as the physical, but they would have to put him in a certain position for everything else, right? So we'll see what's up with that. Mbabu could definitely be a really nice card. Which one does he play for? Is he still a Fulham card? No, right? It's an Augsburg card. So this is a Bundesliga, right? Because Augsburg's in the Bundesliga. Okay. Because listen, as a right back, is Mbabu on the 26th and then 25th is Del Piero? Because I got some family stuff to do, so we'll see what the vibes are there. But Mbabu on the 26th, I could see him being a very good fullback. Now, the huge potential with this card, and I think you guys can see it right away, is the fact that you can make him a lengthy player. I don't know if you guys have this card, right? So if you have Karsdorp, listen, I told you guys during the review of Witzel, because I never got Karsdorp's card from somebody, right? But I told you guys during the Witzel review that this card is probably going to be the better meta option because he's a lengthy player while being able to provide him with a shadow chemistry style, which is a really, really huge deal, right? I without even using this card, I would imagine that he's really good in game, right? If he wasn't, I would be very surprised because being a lengthy shadow chemistry style to boost defense and pace, all that kind of stuff is crazy. But he even has like really good play styles. Whipped pass plus is nuts, slide tackle, rapid long throw, a lot of crazy stuff, right? Mbabu is kind of in a similar situation depending on how they improve him because he's also a lengthy player. But if they improve in a certain way and you could provide him with a shadow and they themselves improve the base card stats for physical, that would be kind of crazy, right? That'd be really, really nuts to work with. So Mbabu could definitely be a very solid choice if you are building some sort of like Bundesliga team, which I'm gonna be honest with you guys, not a lot of you guys are. Like sometimes I can maybe see it, but I think with Mbabu, a big thing with him is if you were to do like this evolution. He plays for Sevilla. All right, never mind then, because I swear he played in the Bundesliga before, but yeah, that would have been the big one. Bobby Moore is the next one. This one they have to improve a lot. This one's a really big one. So again, as an icon, you know, you pack this card, oh my god, horrible, I just packed a garbage player. But as an SBC, you have to do massive improvements on this card to make him nice because you almost have to, in a way, this is how I'm going to explain it, okay? You almost have to make him feel like a good David Alaba card. That's the best way that I can explain it, like a right-footed David Alaba, because he has the base mechanics of a David Alaba with the worst stats, basically, right? Because this card is 5'10", medium work rates, average body type. If I give him a shadow, he's not a lengthy player. So if you can kind of make him feel basically like David Alaba of last year, and I know you guys remember when we released that, well, not we released, but when they released that SBC card on the shadow chemistry style, David Alaba was actually very nice and he lasted a pretty good amount of time. With Bobby Moore, there's a lot of potential if they do the exact same thing with him, because if I can give him a shadow chemistry style and I'm working with Anticipate Plus, which is a huge trait, but you got jockey and block, all three of those things working together, there's a lot of potential there. If you keep the exact same play styles, but you put his pace in a good area that compensates for the fact that he's not a lengthy player, then it could actually be a very usable version of Bobby Moore, which would be a huge W because he sucks, to be fair, right? He's not a good card. So you definitely need to make some massive improvements on him. He's that icon you pack that EA just puts in the pack so that you can get garbage, basically, right? So yeah. Immobile, well, by default, I don't like these types of players because they're physical-oriented strikers, but he could be a really good physical-oriented attacker because Immobile always has like this thing every single year where he's actually pretty decent to use if you enjoy using these types of players, right? Because I face people that like to use physical type players and they sometimes destroy me, right? It just depends on the person's play style and stuff, right? This card has potential because he's formatted in a way where he can be a lengthy player, sure, but even if you give him like a hunter chemistry style or something to boost the pace yourself while giving him the shooting boost, that's great. But in the future, with an SBC version of the card, a Hawk would definitely be really nice, because imagine a card like this improved in pace, shooting, and physicality, but they improve the stats a certain way where he's just all rounded in those areas. Like, sure, the agility and bounce might not be in a best situation. Maybe they can put it in like the 80s area, which would definitely be really cool. But a 4-star skill move, maybe a 5-star weak foot, you know, just to make him a really sick physical type player, it'd be sick, because play styles wise, he only has power shots. So they would, a few play styles being added would definitely be very nice too, because he doesn't have any of those things, right? So gotta look into that one, EA. Ian Wright, another player that they have to massively improve, because with Ian Wright's card, this is what he looks like, right? So Ian Wright, some people pack him and they're like, you know, this is what the FIFA community does. They pack him as an SBC, like, oh, the card's not that bad. Yeah, I never see him being used. Even if you get to, I would say like the sweatier area in the game is like Division 4 and up, you're not going to face this guy. If you do, it's a miracle. Someone's sentimental value FC with this guy like crazy, because he needs improvements as well, right? Maybe if I give him an engine chemistry style, pace is in the mid 90s area, dribbling is all close to the low 90s, mid 90s area, but then base card stats for shooting is like 94 for finishing, 95, you know, in the 90s for shot power. Again, it could be a really nice card too. 3-star skill moves needs to be improved. That has to be a 4-star. 4-star is the minimum criteria for a card that you are trying to make as usable as possible, or just good in the meta of the gameplay. And another thing on top of that is the medium work rate. So you need to change that as well. I would honestly say a high medium would be acceptable, because if he has an average body type EA, you got to improve the dribbling, because I'm going to feel that. Even if he has technical on the card, doesn't have technical on the card, you got to improve that even more with the left stick stuff, right? So chip shot plus, rapid, normal, maybe a few play styles wouldn't hurt as well. So we'll see what variables they do with the Wright card. Alisson, I could see a few people actually doing this card because obviously the links will be very nice. Maybe they give him some play styles as well. This card as of right now has far throw, cross claimer, and rush out. So that review will probably take a little. When is that released? It's on the 30th. Okay, so that card being released, it might take a little bit longer because you need to kind of face people and try hard a little bit. Like if I'm doing like a tactic review at the same time, it's worth doing it in that way, because that way I'd be able to review Alisson and get some normal saves against him. I did the same thing with like the Schmeichel card. Schmeichel actually did really decent on the corners and free kicks and stuff, right? But you know, goalkeepers are goalkeepers. They can be random sometimes. We have to try them out and see what's up. It's hard to say this guy's amazing, this guy's not, because some people use like goalkeepers and they're like, I don't like this card, right? So that one we'll see when that's released. You know what? They're actually releasing good icons if they actually improve them properly, because a lot of these guys are not meta by default, but if EA can make them meta, then it'd be sick, right? Because Shuker is another card as well who just isn't really you know what I'm saying? Like he's not really that nicely formatted. Again, could be a nice card if I could provide him with a Hawk chemistry style, or because of the way that his dribbling is formatted, an engine as well. But base card stats for pace and shooting would have to be massively improved, because, you know, he has like good base mechanic stuff, right? As a physical type player, he's 4-star. At least he has the minimum, right? A 3-star and anything sucks, right? He's 6 foot tall, high medium work rates, lean body type, which is a really huge variable. But then play styles in game, you know, he's got Trivela plus, which is cool. Chip shots, technical as well. So again, it's a card that has potential if improved properly. You know, these cards are trash in all fairness. If you improve them to be a little bit better, it would be nice. But it just depends on how EA ends up doing that. But yeah, a Hawk, an engine, maybe a Hunter, depending on how much they improve the pace, because the pace being improved is obviously a huge variable to work with in this game. Then it could be decent, right? Physical type player as well. But if you're using him in like a 2-striker lineup, it could actually be really nice. Maybe you give him like a first touch or something to compensate for the fact that he's a taller player. You know, stuff like that. What else we got here? So we have Diata. Diata is that guy, man. They always do this card every time. Diata. Diata's cool. He's cool. His links are kind of like whatever. Honestly, it's more for like the Monaco stuff if they do stuff with that in the future. This one, I have nothing to say about this one, because I guess the only thing you could do is compare it to like an 83 rated, see how they improved that. This card is set up a certain way where I can give him a marksman chemistry style to boost the dribbling in those areas as well as the shooting, but then his base card stats for shooting is not high enough, so it makes me want to give him like a finisher, or, well, yeah, a finisher, because if I give him a hunter, it's still like a +8 in that area, right? Because the finisher gives him a +12, and in this game, I tell you guys this all the time, but you want to get your finishing as close to 95 as possible, because it could be really weird, especially if you don't green time. But no, he could definitely be a really nice card. They have to format him correctly too, because his dribbling is set up a certain way where it's meant for a marksman, but base card stats for pace would have to be higher, while shooting is in the 90s area at the very least, especially with attacking positioning, because that's very low on the card too. So very curious to see what they do with this card too. A lot of interesting variables there too as well, for sure. We also have Keane, who could also be a pretty good SBC. Hey man, he can basically be like a Tchouaméni card, right? Because this is a card that you're supposed to use in the CDM position specifically. You're not supposed to use him as a center mid, right? You can use him as a center mid if your team is formatted a certain way where he's on stay back while attacking cover center, because this card right now, it's not a lengthy, right? So because he's a player who's 5'11" average body type, a lengthy to push the pace out of the card would be helpful, because as of right now, controlled on a shadow with 78 acceleration, 81 for sprint speed, that's just too low, right? It's just too low, especially for how this game generally plays out. So a shadow chemistry style is needed, but you know, he needs some improvements. Maybe a little bit of dribbling would be nice. You know, he does have reactions and composure, which is a W for defensive capabilities. Play styles in game, he's got slide, tackle, ping, pass, intercept, first touch, press, proven, relentless. Maybe a nice little cheeky regular anticipate. I don't know, EA, don't be allergic to giving cards anticipate, because if you can give it to every defender, it'd be fantastic, because your manual defending sucks in this game, right? But a regular anticipate would be nice, a bruiser would be nice, something like that, because he's obviously going to be used in that way, right? CDM player, stay back while attacking, cover center type of vibe. all that sort of deals, right? He does have nice passing stuff like Ping's pass. You know, maybe they give him a nice little passing boost as well for the general build-up, but we'll see. That's a rough one to see EA improving by a lot as well. Stones, I could see Stones being a pretty cool card, to be honest with you guys. Stones with the improvements. Listen, if you could somehow make him like a showdown upgrade card, you know, that'd be kind of nice. You know, a nice little showdown upgrade. I will say, if he's still a high, no, I mean, a high medium is like, okay, it's all right. But a medium high would be better, especially for how this game generally performs, right? But 4-star weak foot, really huge variable to work with. Shadow Chemist style, need to force him to be a lengthy player. That's going to be an absolute must. It's either that or an anchor, depending on how EA improve the base card stats for pace, right? It just depends. Evolutions wise, he does have the rare defender upgrade, which, to be fair, you guys still didn't really put in a good position when it comes to the pace. Usability wise, for the Man City fans, sure, why not? But I mean, you're not going to choose this card over Saliba unless like Stones gets some sort of like evolution upgrade in the future, but you know. But Stones could definitely be nice with the right improvements if they make him somehow similar to Showdown, and you give him more play styles, because Intercept Plus is not enough. Especially Anticipate, Bruiser, Block, Jockey, like, you know, you gotta do all that stuff, my dude, all that stuff. We'll see what they do with that. And then last but not least, we have Trezeguet, who, listen, in the beginning of last year or 2 years ago, I forget which FIFA was already, right? But in the beginning, he got an SBC, and I'm like, oh my goodness, these physical type strikers are actually pretty good, because the lengthy meta is not as crazy. It's still good, but it's not as crazy as it was in the beginning of that 1 year. I think it might have been last year. I always forget, you know? But with Trezeguet, again, this is a card that you pack as an SBC, and you're like, okay, I got garbage. You know what I'm saying? Because no one's going to use this guy, especially with the way that he's formatted in certain areas. But you know, maybe in the future, if I can give him a Hunter, base card stats for dribbling is higher, but his physical significantly increased, could be nice. You know, playstyles wise, he's got acrobatic, power header, first touch, aerial. He needs more playstyles too, because those types of things are more for like, look at me scoring like a fun goal, basically, right? He needs some massive improvements as well to make him feel a little bit better in game. But yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it in regards to the Winter Wildcard SBC. Thank you for releasing the SBCs early, EA. They're like, well, listen, we can't stop the leak, so we gotta do it ourselves. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.